You almost ruined our review for us.
Here we go.
And
Fingers
Pete.
take enough beating. Here we go.
Yeah, Pete.
All right, starting with Macklin over there. Macklin, tell me the answer to this question. What woman devised a plan to free prisoners of war that were housed on British ships docked into the East River? Who was that woman that devised a plan to free prisoners of war that were housed on British ships docked in the East River?
Elizabeth, is it Bergen?
Bergen. Elizabeth Bergen. Very good. Brady, think about this now. What battle in North Carolina was a prelude to America's Civil War 80 years later? What battle in North Carolina was a prelude to America's Civil War 80 years later? In other words, it'd be a battle in which I would assume colonists fought against colonists. The Battle of Kings Mountain, is that correct? Yep, very good. They're not northern at all today. You know what I would do? If it was me, I would get my ID sheet out and I would star these names. That would be much easier. Then later, you can go and figure it out, okay? Okay, Casey, my dear. Which British general pursued American forces in North Carolina miles away from his supply lines? Which British general pursued American forces in North Carolina miles away from his supply lines? Who did that? Who chased American forces clear through North Carolina and figured out, uh-oh, I'm miles away from my supply lines? Might not be on your ID sheet because we talked about it before. Don't give me some corny answer either, I'm not interested. Charles Cornwallis, perfect. Charles Cornwallis, you might have to note that somewhere in your notes. There's a couple of them that aren't on the ID sheet. Most of them are. Siobhan, my dear, who was the 16-year-old hero at the battle at Fort Henry, risking her life to secure more gunpowder from militias surrounded there? Who did that? Betty Zane, that a girl. Betty Zane. Okay, Olivia, my twin sister. Who is the American general who was forced to surrender Charleston, South Carolina, along with 5,000 troops of the British early in the war in the South in May of 1780? Early in the war in the South would give you a hint that would be early in your notes because that's what we started. So who is the American general who was forced to... Benjamin Lincoln. Benjamin Lincoln was the American general who was forced to surrender Charleston, South Carolina, along with 5,000 troops of the British in May of 1780. Caitlin, my dear, give me one of the 4 commissioners that were assigned the duty of negotiations for the United States following the Revolutionary War. Benjamin Franklin. Give me another one. Asia.
John Adams.
John Adams. Give me another one, Pete. John Jay. Give me the last one, JC. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was a guy with famous American hero. They put in that. So we got who? John Jay. Who else we got? Benjamin Franklin. John Adams.
Henry Lawrence.
Henry Lawrence. That a girl.
Wait, what did these people do?
What did they do? They negotiated the end of the Revolutionary War.
I wish these were over.
Hey, Michaela. Who was the military man, probably not on your ID sheet, that was assigned the task of shadowing the British Army during their regrouping in Virginia? Who was the military man that was assigned the task of shadowing the British Army during their regrouping in Virginia? And the reason I didn't say maybe American military man, because maybe he's not American. But if I said French, that would just give it away right off the bat. So who is that fellow? We got one Frenchman in the country, that we're talking about. So who is the military man that was assigned the task of shadowing the British Army during their regrouping in Virginia? Don't give me some la-la answer, I want the right answer. Try to fight me on it either.
Wait, does his name start with
With
an
an M?
M? Yeah.
His first name does.
Okay, so Lord
Marquise?
de la
Marquise de Lafayette. He was a military man assigned the task of shadowing the British Army during their regrouping in Virginia. Hunter! Think about this. Who was the American spy that gathered valuable information against the British that led to the Patriot victory at Yorktown? Attaboy. James Armistead. Very good.
Oh, I have a question. Is he a slave or a foreigner?
He actually is a,
Slave spy.
he's not a slave. We had some, yeah, because slavery kind of went on the side banner during this war, so he really wasn't a slave. But he knew that he was gonna be, I mean, depending on who won, although the Americans did not what? Guarantee anything for African Americans, right? Okay, Maddie? What battle was it where the Patriots stopped running from the British in North Carolina and turned to fight, resulting in twice as many redcoat casualties as American casualties? What battle was that, where they decided to stop running and stand toe-to-toe?
The battle of
No.
the, no, just kidding, it's the battle of.
She's kidding. Go ahead. They ran and ran and ran and ran. They got Cornwallis so far away from the supply lines, they finally decided to turn and fight. And what battle was that? They killed twice as many redcoats as they killed or captured twice as many redcoats as they lost. I don't have, you know, if you break the law here, I don't want to take you to court over this. What are you done? Take you, I'll get you in front of Judge Scar, the big court of law. Might have to go to the courthouse too to figure it out.
No.
You're looking kind of guilty here too. Guilty, breaking the law, have to go to court.
Oh,
the
Guilford
courthouse.
Courthouse, yeah.
Guilford Courthouse. Now here's my thing, Maddie.
I know, but-
You think I'm
I know.
picking on you, but the fact is, I bet you don't forget that tomorrow.
No.
That's how you remember. Give me some study habits here. Okay, Lauren. Who was the mother of 8 children who defended her home in the backwoods of Georgia against several loyalist militia? Nancy Hart. Tough old gal. Dane, what was the battle in South Carolina in which the defeat by the Patriots was considered self-inflicted because of their zealous consumption of unripe peaches? We're asking Dane that one.
Fort Henry?
No. Wouldn't it be too bad if you bought a new 4-wheeler and they said it was a Can-Am instead of Can-Am?
Battle of Canada?
Very good, Battle of Camden.
I was gonna say something about Canton.
Let me pick them out. All righty, let's see here. Dalton, my man, what was the last recorded battle of the Revolutionary War? Where was it fought?
Fort Henry.
Fort Henry, that away. Delaney, this is kind of an oxymoron here. Who was the Virginia giant who legend states that carried an 1,100-pound cannon away from the Battle of Camden? Peter Francisco. Very good. The tiniest cute gal I know and the biggest homely fella. You can use that tomorrow if you want. Peter Francisco. So, Elise, have I asked you a question yet? See if it's a yes or no. Okay, this is yours. Who was that American commander that was appointed by General Washington to use a hit-and-run strategy against the British forces in North Carolina? Who was that guy that used that brilliant hit-and-run strategy? You might get this way if you ate too many unripe peaches, by the way. Your face might get this color.
Oh.
And the light bulb goes off. You don't know? Really, you might get sick on peaches. If you get sick on peaches, what color are you stealing it? Yeah.
Oh.
Nathaniel Green. And last but not least, Cherith, on this part, who was the British Prime Minister that was shocked of the British loss at Yorktown?
Lord Frederick.
Lord Frederick North. We never can get enough of that guy, right? Okay, now, when I ask you in a review those types of questions, what does that tell you those are going to be used in? If I give you the answer and ask for the name, what more than likely, what are you going to get? That's a good guess.
Is that like short or like the word bank?
Yeah, what would you use? What kind of questions are the word bank? But you're not getting the word bank. Matching. List of names, list of what they did. A, C, D. So there'll be 15 so far, 15 matching. Those names that we talked about that you answered will be on a list, and then you'll have the definition next to those and you'll match them up. That's not the whole test, but that's 15. All right, Emily, my dear, back there, Colin Kaepernick lover.
I don't love him. I actually really hate the 49ers.
Okay, anyway, I appreciate your opinion. Tell me this question, or tell me this question. Answer me this question. Answer this question for me. Why were there so many loyalists in the South during the Revolutionary War? Why? That was a big problem for us fighting in the South. There were so many loyalists. Why were there so many loyalists in the South? Why weren't they in the North? In other words, why were there so many loyalists in the South during the Revolutionary War?
They were making great profits, like they were rich.
Okay, and who are they? I want you, you're right, but who are they? Southern planters. Southern planters. Southern manufacturers. Southern businessmen. All those types of people, the merchants, the businessmen, and the planters, were in the South. And they were making a very good profit trading with Britain. So why in the world would they want to have a revolution? Was that going to help them any? No. So the reason why there were so many loyalists in the South during the Revolutionary War is because all the wealthy planters, merchants, and businessmen lived in the South and were making good profits with Britain. It's important you put that down. Okay? Very good. Let's see here. Got everybody. Oh, Paris. Slipped by me there. Tell me the difference, Paris, my dear, in the capacity between British warships and retired British prisoners of war ships. What's the difference?
So, at the time that these British warships were like in service, they could carry like 350 men, but when they held prisoners, they would hold like up to 1,400 prisoners below deck.
Below deck, and that's important that she added below deck, because it's a lot different if they're above deck, right? So below deck. Mr. Garza, I was going to forget you. Now, give me one example of the horrible living conditions aboard prisoner of war British ships. One example.
Disease.
What's that?
Disease.
Disease. Very good. Very good. Okay, give me another one, Caitlin. Meat was undercooked. Another one, Sage.
There was like not enough oxygen that they couldn't even light a match.
There was not so little of oxygen they couldn't even write a match. What about, Morgan, that bread? Wormy bread. So, a couple examples of the horrible living conditions aboard those prisoners' warships. Hey, Siobhan, my dear, tell me the two things that American prisoner of war could do to gain their freedom from prison ships.
They could join the Royal Navy.
Very good. They could join the Royal Navy and swear allegiance to the king. If they did that, they were set free. Approximately how many of them chose to do that, Dave?
95%.
So that would mean, how many chose to do it?
5%.
5%. Okay. Macklin, you're all over this. I mean all over. How did General Washington plan to block any escape that Cornwallis and his army might have at Yorktown?
They're gonna have Bethlehem by sea.
We're at it. There, you say no. So how many French warships were heading to the United States, first of all? Pete? 28, and where were they going to try to get to before the British fleet? To high water, where? What was the specific location? Anybody remember? Yes, but where? In Yorktown, Virginia. Yep, very good, I'm sorry. Yep. So, how did General Washington plan to block any escape Cornwallis and his army might have at Yorktown? By stationing 28 French vessels in the deep water around Yorktown, preventing Cornwallis's escape by sea. Because who's going to block his escape by land? Washington, right? Okay. Okay. Lauren, my dear, I don't know if I ever told this class or not, but you know, my wife had 2 boys, and we named them after former players of mine, Sheldon Beatty and Carson Coate. But if we had a girl, which we didn't have, the name was going to be Lauren. Son of a... It's a pretty name, don't you think? I thought it was awesome. So, Lauren, the daughter I never had, how was General Cornwallis convinced that he should stay in the vicinity of Yorktown rather than engage American troops outside of Yorktown?
Because James Armstrong tried to figure any trust in concept. That's the right information.
Okay, well that's pretty close. I mean, but we're leaving out a lot of detail. First of all, how was he convinced? He received a note back from James Armistead after he sent Armistead to spy on Lafayette, right? And what was the information that Armistead gave Cornwallis? Okay, I'll even help you with this. They were 3,200 to start with. We'll just say he gave the information that twice as many troops that Lafayette had twice as many troops as he really had. That'd make it easy on the numbers. So, how was General Cornwallis convinced that he should stay in the vicinity of Yorktown rather than engage the American troops outside of Yorktown? He received a note from British spy James Armistead stating that Lafayette had twice as many troops as he really had. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right, Ivan, my man, how long did the Battle of Yorktown last? I'm not looking for hours necessarily or minutes.
Lasted 3 weeks.
3 weeks, very good. 3 weeks, perfect. Okay, Michaela, my dear, give me one of the 3 things that was gained by the United States of America as a result of the Treaty of Paris, which ended the Revolutionary War. One of the 3 things we gained.
Independence from Great Britain.
There, that would be the easiest one, yep. Independence from Great Britain. How about another one, Pete?
The right to fish in the Gulf of St. Lawrence.
And off the coast of Old Lost Water. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah! Huh? The right to fish in the Gulf of St. Lawrence and off the coast of Newfoundland. And Dane, the final thing that the Americans gained as a result of the Treaty of Paris?
We gained all land between the Appalachian and Mississippi River and the Great Lakes of Florida.
Right, all land between the Appalachian Mountains and the Mississippi River from the Great Lakes to Florida. Okay?
Wait, what was the fishing one again?
The right to fish in the Gulf of the St. Lawrence River off the coast of Newfoundland. Okay, what this test is going to amount to, just so you know, is 15 matching and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 short answers. Not that many questions with that many short answers. So 25. Okay, how many points do you think it's going to be worth a piece? 4. So it's going to be worth 100. 100. It will be the last test for your quarter grade. But we will have one more point total for your quarter grade, which will be what? Your biography. Okay, so make sure you get that. Now, we're going to see how smart you are. So I want you to take out a piece of paper blank piece of paper, put your 3-ring binder underneath your desk, and we're gonna see if we're very smart. And I'll tell you what the deal is. I don't know if we'll have time to finish this today, but we'll finish it sometime. So my wife and I are watching TV one night, and all of a sudden on the History Channel comes up this video called 10 Things You Didn't Know About the American Revolution. And she was amazed that I knew them all. I want to see if you know them. So take out a piece of paper and number from 1 to 10. And do it on your own without talking as the video goes. And we'll discuss this and have some fun with it. Okay, now again, we're not talking. We're doing this on our own. Because I want to see how smart you are. So I really am going to grade myself on how smart you are. But this was kind of interesting because this just popped up one night. My wife and I watched it. And I said, my kids know this too, by the way. And maybe we'll see if we know all 10, but we'll see how we do. I could have cheated and taught you all 10, but let's just see what happens here. Okay, here we go. So again, don't be talking.
Freedom Trail in Boston, Massachusetts, and along it are many sites important to the American Revolution. If you follow it, you're going to find tons